Hello everyone and welcome to the finals of the FIDE World Cup 2021. It's Jan-Krzysztof Duda versus Sergey Karjakin, and this is their second game of the classical time format. The first one we didn't show is a really quick draw. Karjakin messed something up in the opening and he had to go for a repetition of moves, and now Duda has the white pieces, and it's quite an impressive game, especially for the finals of such a huge event as the FIDE World Cup. So without further ado, let's check it out and see what happened. Duda with the white pieces opens with d4. We have knight to f6 by Sergey, c4, e6, knight to f3, and d5. So a normal queen's gambit declined. Knight to c3 and c5. Now going for the Semi-Tarrasch defense. We have c captures, and now queen captures on d4. We have e captures on d4, and now bishop to g5. So nothing out of the ordinary. This has all been played before. Bishop to e7, preparing the castle, and e3. Duda also preparing bishop e2, castling, and so on. So here we have castles by Sergey, and now bishop to e2 is the most common move here, and it does make sense. You want to develop the bishop, you want to castle your king to safety, but he did not go for that. He played rook to d1, and this is well, sort of a very complicated game that's been played once in a kind of a top tier game some 10 years ago, but we're gonna get to that. So the black king remains in the center a little bit longer. White will still need at least 2 moves to castle. We have knight to c6, attacking the white queen, and queen to a4. And now bishop to e6, adding another defender to the d5 pawn, and now bishop to b5. So now white is ready to castle. But black plays bishop to b6. So let's see what white can do here. In the game that we mentioned that was played some 10 years ago, it was played in 2011 between Anish Giri and Yu Wang, and well, Anish won that game by castling in this position, but it was a blitz game. This is a classical game, and Duda goes for the, well, strongest move recommended by the engine, and that is bishop captures on f6. So no doubt he has this very well prepared. Bishop captures on f6, and now he goes for the pawn. Knight captures on d5. It's not a problem if black wants to. Black can always recapture on b2, and this is exactly what Karjakin will do. So bishop captures, we have rook captures, and the bishop captures on b2. Now saying, okay, I might go bishop to c3 check next to mess up your castling privileges, but Duda does not go for castles here. Duda plays king to e2, sort of keeping the king in the center of the board, saying that if a queen trade occurs at any moment, I will have already a very nicely centralized king, and rook to d1 is coming, rook h to d1, so both of my rooks will already very nicely be controlling the d file. So bishop back to f6 by Karjakin, and now rook h to d1, sort of artificially castling, rook 8 to c8, and now bishop to c4. We have queen to b4, offering a queen trade, thinking that this will, well, probably be another draw, and then we're going to go into the tiebreaks, and the Duda plays queen to b3. Now he says, okay, we can trade queens, but we trade on b3. So Sergey trades here. We have captures, and now knight to b8, shifting the knight over to the other side of the board. You could also trade off everything with something like rook here, as the bishop guards that square, but he decided to reshuffle the knight, and now Duda starts his attack, and he plays g4, and it's already very unpleasant. g5 is coming, and this bishop does not have a lot of squares. So here we have h6 stopping g5. Now comes h4. We have g6, and now g5, captures, and bishop to e7 now, and now rook to e5, going after this bishop here. We have knight to c6, defending the bishop and attacking the rook, and now comes the move that, well, really gives black a lot of trouble, but I will not just show it to you. Feel free to pause the video here and try to find the absolute best move for Duda here while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting this, well, not going for a material idea. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's rook to d7, going after the 7th rank, just giving up the exchange like this. And if black goes for the exchange, let's say knight captures on e5, we're gonna capture on e5, and now the bishop is under attack, and if the bishop moves, we have a triple attack on the f7 pawn. Not only that, we're also threatening knight captures on g6 because the f7 pawn is pinned, so black is very limited in his responses here. So he could play something like bishop g5, But then we just played knight captures on f7, threatening all sorts of nasty discoveries, and there's no way for black to get out of this. You can't go here, the knight covers this. If you go here, then you go under the mask of the rook, so you have to capture the knight. So rook captures, and now, again, you're threatening a lot of very nasty discoveries here. You're going to have to sidestep this, and then rook captures on b7, white will be winning this. There's no way for the black king to activate itself, and these pawns are now just marching forward. So that's one way to do it, but after rook to d7, Karjakin decided to go bishop to d8, and now comes rook to b5. So what do you play here? It's a very tricky position. This rook wants to capture on b7, then you're going to have a triple attack on f7, and there's not a lot you can do. Of course, b6 is one option, and it is very much playable, but the idea is if b6, then we're going to go knight to e5. And then after knight captures, we're going to play rook captures, and again, it's a very, very tough position to play for black. Not a lot to go for here. The problem is if this is hanging, there's a lot of pressure on the king side. And if you try something like rook to c7 to guard this and try and trade everything off, there's always bishop captures on f7. That's the problem. And now if rook captures, we can pick up the bishop on d8, and the white will have a great position here. But in the game, knight to a5 was played. b6 was kind of better than knight to a5. And now the position is completely winning, but Duda decides not to win it right away. Here you could, everyone sees it. For some reason, Duda decided to go for a different sort of idea. Rook captures on d8, just removing the defender of the knight clearly wins. Captures, and captures. Now bishop and knight for a rook. But Duda decided against this for some reason. He played bishop to d5 first. Okay, adding a third attacker to the b7 pawn, also nicely controlling the knight here, so the knight doesn't really have a way of entering the game. But now we have rook to c7, and now basically the same idea applies. But just in case you've missed it, feel free to pause the video and win the game for Duda while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on not falling for the idea of rook captures on d8, because this doesn't work. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's bishop captures on f7. But just in case you were wondering, this doesn't work now. Even though it seems like you're going to have some discoveries here, because of rook captures now attacks the bishop on d5, rook captures on a5, and now we play b6 and we kick away the defender of the bishop. Rook b5, we're going to play this, and now you have to either move the rook and then lose the bishop, or better yet, maybe grab 2 pawns, captures, and then captures and play this game, but it's very unlikely that you will be able to win this. So instead, bishop captures on f7 is much better. Now if rook captures, then we capture on d8 with check, and after king goes here, we're going to capture on a5, and now we're up a whole knight. Of course, this is completely winning. So after bishop captures on f7, Karjakin played king to g7, and now we have rook captures on c7, bishop captures, and now we have bishop to d5, and it was in this position on move 30 that Sergey Karjakin resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Even though materially black is down only 1 pawn, but this position is completely unplayable for black. To give you an example, if you try anything here, let's try something like a6 attacking the rook. You can just move it, and black still has no active moves, whereas white has as many active moves as white wants. For example, if rook to f5, we go after the bishop, we can just kick away the rook. Rook has to go back, doesn't really matter where. Knight d4, then the knight comes to e6, attacks everything. The knight can never move because, well, the b7 pawn falls. We can even capture it at any point, and it's just a terrible position. Well, and on the other hand, it's too easy to play this with white. Like we said, the knight is coming to e6, you gain control of f4, you can play king e3, push f4, you can pretty much do anything, and this knight is not re-entering the game. So that's one way to do it. Another way would be to play bishop to b6, just, play a waiting game, block the rook's attack to the pawn, and also now the bishop can't capture because the knight guards it, but still knight to e5. And what do you play here? You could play bishop e4, pick up this pawn, so it's just really bad. If rook to e8 going after the knight, we can even play knight to d7, now attack the bishop twice, and if bishop to d8, We can't allow white to capture the bishop because then the knight is lost. Now we play knight to f6. Again, you cannot eliminate it because then pawn captures with check, and then we pick up the piece. And if rook to f8, then we play bishop captures on b7. So nothing to play here. If you go for this, then we just grab 2 pieces. And if rook to f7 blocking, we very happily go into this endgame. Captures 94, and we have we're up 2 pawns. Of course, we are completely winning here with white. So of course, Karjakin knows this, and after bishop d5, he resigned the game, and this means that Jan-Krzysztof Duda is the winner of the FIDE World Cup 2021, and he takes down Sergey Karjakin in the classical time format, which is something very few people could do. If you remember, not so long ago, Sergey Karjakin played a World Chess Championship match against Magnus Carlsen in New York, and even Magnus was unable to close the match in the classical time format. He had to go into rapids against him, but Duda gets the job done in classical, and he says, all right, you had your chance with the white pieces, you had your quick draw, but now I completely utilized my chance with the white pieces. And Duda crushed a lot of very strong players here. Just to give you his 4 previous opponents, I mean, extremely strong. So he defeats Karjakin in the finals, he defeated Magnus Carlsen in the semifinals, he defeated Vidit, he defeated Grishchuk. So Duda just obliterated everyone in this tournament. So huge congratulations to him on this spectacular achievement. So we are going to see him in the next FIDE Candidates tournament. It's going to be awesome. Karjakin will also be there as he reached the finals of the FIDE World Cup, and we'll see who else is waiting for us there. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're probably gonna check up the game between Magnus and Fedoseev in the clash for 3rd place, as that also seems to be an interesting one. But we'll see how it goes. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And I would like to thank David Kimura, Tom Derolo, Alexander Trebus, Brandon Fukuda, and Arnie Cox for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing with probably one more game from the World Cup, and then we are continuing the greatest saga of them all. See you soon.